Mr. Prime Minister, thank you so much for this time. معالي رئيس الوزراء، انتهت زيارة ناجحة للعاهل السعودي الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز إلى ماليزيا. ماذا حققتم خلال هذه الزيارة وماذا يمثل لكم التعاون بين البلدين؟
His Majesty King Salman, the custodian of the two holy mosques, has just completed his first state visit to Malaysia. It is very historic because we are the first country in Southeast Asia, in Asia for that matter, that His Majesty has visited. So it's a very profound and a very significant visit, very much awaited by all Malaysians. And indeed, His Majesty's visit has been very impactful in many sense, in terms of certainly the brotherly relationship that we've enjoyed for such a long time. In fact, a very special relationship with the kingdom, and also in terms of the security, cooperation, in terms of the people-to-people ties. And the highlight of the visit was the signing ceremony between Aramco and Petronas. So all in all, it was a hugely successful visit.
دولة رئيس الوزراء، ساهمت زيارة خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز إلى ماليزيا في اقترابكم أكثر من شخصية الملك، حتى أنكم صورتم سيلفي مع الملك ونشرتوها في حسابكم في تويتر. انتشر هذا السيلفي بين السعوديين وسموه سيلفي الفخم.
I got to know the king much better as a result of this visit. I spent a lot of time with him. And I find the king a very personable, very warm, very caring person. He has deep knowledge, particularly in terms of history. And he's very keen to encourage cooperation and collaboration. So, and I have a great deal of respect for his leadership. And I ventured to ask him whether I could take a selfie with him. And to my surprise and my delight, the king consented to it. And I took a selfie, and I thought to myself, here's a chance for me to show the king in a very different light to all, that he's in fact a very good-natured person, and to show the king in a different manner, to make him more personable, to make him more the humanistic part of the king that sometimes doesn't show off when we are very much tied to protocol and certain things, ways of doing things. So I took a bit of a risk and tweeted it, and apparently it was a hugely, it was received very positively both in Malaysia and in Saudi as well.
So it works. نجحت.
Alhamdulillah, it worked, and I think the king was pleased, or at least members of his delegation were very pleased with the tweet.
ما حجم التعاون الماليزي مع دول مجلس التعاون الخليجي وخصوصا السعودية دولة الرئيس؟
Our total trade is about 45 billion ringgit, which is roughly about $11 billion between Malaysia and the GCC countries. UAE is number one trading partner, Saudi the second. I'm confident that the economic business and trade investment will become much more positive in the future, especially since the visit of His Majesty King Salman, and also the signing between Aramco, the partnership, the new partnership between Petronas and Aramco. And also during this visit, something like quite a number of MOUs were signed by the private sector to the tune of about 9 billion ringgit, above 9 billion ringgit. So that shows there's a lot of eagerness on both sides to increase business and economic ties. Of course, I mean, the whole idea is that the level of cooperation between the whole GCC countries and Malaysia should be elevated to new heights, not only with Saudi, but with also with the other GCC countries. And I'm told that the Emir of Qatar, for example, is likely to do a state visit to Malaysia sometime this year. So I think we are going to encourage more visits both ways, so that will open up more opportunities to enhance economic ties.
دولة الرئيس يصف البعض التجربة الماليزية بكونها تجربة نجاح إداري وتنموي. ما هي وصفة النجاح السرية في هذه التجربة؟
Well, we have to study where we are today. So when I took over office in 2009, one of the challenges that Malaysia faced was that we were in a so-called middle income trap. So we needed a new economic model to take us out of that middle income trap so that we can become an upper income country, a fully developed country, or an advanced economy. So I came up with the National Transformation Plan, both on the economic side, called the Economic Transformation Plan, and the Government Transformation Plan. And we decided that staying still and business as usual was not an option. We needed to do something bold. We had to do something quite courageous, because if you want to transform a nation, then you must be prepared to bring about changes and reforms. And that's exactly what we did. We understood the economic structure, and we decided on certain course of action, and we have stuck to our plan. We implemented it, we executed it, and today it's showing results. For example, in 2009, our dependency on oil was to the tune of 41%. In other words, 41% of the government revenue was dependent on oil. Today, the figure is 14%. Had we not done the transformation, we would have been in deep trouble today, because when the price of oil plummeted, certainly the government revenue, if it was too highly dependent on oil, would have been very, very badly affected. The other thing was to introduce GST and also the rationalization of subsidies. These were necessary, not entirely popular. We faced a lot of criticism, but we stayed the course. And today we're seeing the results of the actions we took a few years ago.
Interesting. هل هناك تعاون بين ماليزيا ودول عربية من أجل تعميم التجربة الناجحة تنمويا الماليزية في العالم العربي؟
Well, we do have regular exchanges. We have an outfit called Pemandu, which is a unit that I established when I took over office. And this unit is a kind of a hybrid unit comprising of both people from the private sector and the civil service. And this unit was responsible to drive our transformation plan. And this unit has been visiting some of the GCC countries and also the African countries, and we have shared our experience. And a few measures that have been decided by the Saudi government, for example, to be implemented, which includes GST, introduction of GST, rationalization of subsidies, as well as direct financial assistance are some of the measures which we have done in Malaysia as part of our government transformation plan.
إلى أي حد ساهمت التجربة اليابانية في إنجاح تجربتكم؟
The early days, I would say yes. We had a look-east policy, and we looked towards Japan and Korea because they were the success stories, basically in the 70s and 80s. And they were touted as the role model for other countries to emulate. And we've learned from their experience. We replicated some of the experience. The emphasis was both in terms of the economic policies as well as the work ethics. We sent a lot of students to Japan and to Korea for them to study in the universities and for them to adopt the Japanese work ethics. I would say it has contributed to our development, but it's not just because of the look-east policy. There were other reasons underpinning our success.
Do you still keep sending your student to other countries to study?
Yes.
هل لازلتم تبعثون
Yes,
طلاب
we do.
ماليزيين؟
We have a look-east 2.0. So we continue to send our students to Japan and Korea, but you know, we send students to almost every part of the world.
إلى أي مدى ساهم التنوع العرقي والديني في ماليزيا في تحقيق النجاح الاقتصادي؟
Well, as you know, Malaysia is a very diverse society, and it is a multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multi-religious society. But we've managed to work together as a cohesive nation. We have our challenges, of course, but by drawing on the strength of each ethnic group and under the general policy of working towards national unity, and when I took over office, I stressed on the concept of One Malaysia, which is to emphasize on certain core values to bring about a sense of belonging, sense of togetherness. And we have brought about quite remarkable success, considering that many people, when we became independent, were not optimistic that we could succeed as a nation, but we've proven our critics wrong.
هل يجب أن تكون المجتمعات متنوعة حتى تنجح؟
Well, being diverse has its advantages, but it also has its challenges. So the main challenge would be, to make sure that there will be an absence of internal conflict between the various racial groups. And by and large, we have succeeded in that. But more importantly, in how do we move as one nation, a sense of togetherness. And that is the one that we need to work on, because I'm conscious of the fact that whilst there's peace and harmony, but we still need to work at it so that we will strengthen the process of national integration and national unity. Well, actually, the figures are more impressive than that. I think the figures, we were in the high 60s when we became independent. And in 2015, the figure went down to as low as 0.6%. So poverty has been reduced very significantly. It's because we always stress on growth. We need growth, but growth with equity. So we have to make sure it's balanced. We must make sure it is inclusive. We must make sure that no one is left behind. So that's the philosophy that we believe in, and we translate it into very effective measures and programs. And you can see that it has led to a remarkable reduction in poverty in Malaysia and lifting the income level to unprecedented levels.
So now it's less than 1%.
Yes. Absolute poverty has been almost totally eradicated and poverty is now down to 0.6%.
دولة رئيس الوزراء نجحتم أيضا في خفض معدلات البطالة إلى 2.5% في 2014. ما هي الوصفة السحرية أيضا؟
Well, basically, you have to create growth. You have to encourage investment. One of the things we realized is that when we said that the engine of growth should be the private sector, we had to make sure that this would be reflected in terms of investment between the public and private sector. So in the past, the public sector was more dominant, but with the transformation that we have done, the policies that we've created under our transformation program since 2009, the engine of growth today is the private sector. So when you have a very vibrant private sector, both domestic as well as in foreign direct investment, you're able to create jobs. And I have stressed upon the importance of creating higher paid jobs, so that people will enjoy a higher income level. So we didn't want to create jobs at the level of the low skill, because low skills equate to low income. So if we can push up the level of skills, then you get higher paying jobs.
كيف استطاعت ماليزيا أن تنأى بنفسها عن الهجمات الإرهابية حتى الآن؟ ما هي الوصفة؟
We've been very firm. As you know, our position is that we will not compromise on any form of extremism, any form of terrorism will not be tolerated. And as a result of some of the measures that we've done, including a slew of additional legislations to deal specifically with extremism and terrorism, and strengthening the security forces so that we can arrest them and put them on trial before they commit an act of terrorism. Because I believe that if you were to wait for an act to commit or to be committed, then many people would have died and many people would have been injured. But the decision, to whether to sentence them would be, you need to produce evidence in court that these people are at a point of committing an act of terrorism. And that is why we've been effective. So far, there's been no visible act of terrorism except for one incident. It was a minor incident, but there have been no significant act of terrorism committed in Malaysia simply because we have been very proactive.
أي واحد الذي
That was a grenade that was thrown into a surrounding of a nightclub, but nobody was killed. There were minor injuries, but we have arrested about 270 people who have been converted to the IS or Daesh ideology, and these people are no longer being able to commit any form of terrorism.
دولة الرئيس، ما هي مساهمتكم في الحرب على الإرهاب؟
Well, we cooperate very closely with all the like-minded countries. For example, the inter-agencies cooperation is very good, which includes sharing of intelligence and also making timely intervention. We're also part of the peace process. For example, Malaysia took the leadership role to facilitate the peace in southern Philippines. We're also working with the people in Thailand, including the Thai government, to bring about peace in southern Thailand. So that's within the regional context. But beyond that, we also cooperate with other countries. Like, for example, we have some Malaysians fighting under the banner of IS in Syria, as well as Iraq. So we need cooperation with other countries because no country can deal with global terrorism on its own.
دولة رئيس الوزراء، إلى أين وصلت التحقيقات في اغتيال الأخ غير الشقيق لزعيم كوريا الشمالية الذي قتل قبل أيام في مطار كوالالمبور؟
Well, as you know, we have identified the substance that was used, which is VX nerve agent, and a very, very lethal chemical weapon, which has been listed under weapons of mass destruction. We need to do a proper DNA analysis to confirm the identity of the deceased. And this is part of the normal protocol. And this is what we are awaiting to get samples of DNA to do the necessary body identification. And that is why we cannot release the body until we have confirmed, in no uncertain terms, the identity of the victim or the deceased. And that is why I like to make the statement that we have to accept the fact that a crime has been committed in Malaysia. We have also to understand that the substance or the weapon used is a very, very dangerous chemical weapon, which should not be used at all, because if used in large quantities, many, many people could have been killed, not just one person. So we have to take a very serious stance, and we are very determined to find out the truth, and that the people responsible should be brought to justice. Well, as you know, we have to take a very serious stance, and we have decided to charge the two women that are allegedly responsible for committing the act. And we are looking for the others as well, because we believe there are others responsible. And we will continue with the investigation and to take the necessary actions, legal, and to make sure that these people will be brought to justice, because we cannot accept not only a crime, but the use of chemical weapon in Malaysia is totally unacceptable.
شكرا دولة الرئيس.
Thank you.